Your heating system is failing you. You set the thermostat to 72, the furnace runs all night, and by morning you are still pulling a blanket over your shoulders. The air feels thin, dry. Your skin cracks at the knuckles. Your energy bill arrives, and it is $380 for a single month, and you were still cold. Now I want to take you somewhere. 950 AD, Stöng, Iceland. A Norse chieftain had built a longhouse here from turf and stone. He had no furnace, no ductwork, no thermostat. All he had was a single open fire pit in the center of a dirt floor. I walked inside during the dead of an Icelandic February. His family slept without shivering. The walls were warm to the touch. What did a Viking with a shovel and a pile of turf know about heat that your $15,000 HVAC system has forgotten? The answer lies in three elements modern builders abandoned: thermal mass, earth insulation, and radiant heat. And the reason your house does not use them has nothing to do with science. It has everything to do with speed, profit, and cheap energy that is no longer cheap. Before we go deeper, drop a comment and tell us, how long does your house stay warm after the power goes out? 1 hour? 3? Could you see your breath in your own living room after 30 minutes? Let us know below, because what you are about to discover will change how you think about every wall in your home. Here is what surrounds you right now. Your walls are framed with 2x4 lumber, 3.5 inches of wood with fiberglass batting stuffed between the studs. That fiberglass has an R value of about 13. Sounds respectable until you realize that 25% of your wall is solid wood studs, which conduct heat directly from inside to outside. Engineers call this thermal bridging. Your wall is riddled with it. Every 16 inches, there is a wooden highway moving your paid-for warmth straight into the atmosphere. Then there is the air. A 2015 study from the Department of Energy estimated that air leaks through gaps, seams, and outlets account for 25 to 40% of heating and cooling costs in the average American home. Your furnace is not fighting the cold. Your furnace is fighting your own walls. The cost is staggering. The average American household spends $2,000 per year on heating and cooling. Over a 30-year mortgage, that is $60,000, enough to buy a second car, fund a college education, or renovate the entire house. And the system still leaves cold spots on your floor and ice on the inside of your windows. Now here is where it gets worse. This was not always the standard. Before the 1940s, builders in cold climates used thick masonry walls, deep cellars, and passive solar orientation. In 1947, the Levitt brothers built the first mass-produced suburban homes in Levittown, New York. 17,447 houses, each one framed in wood and insulated with the cheapest materials available. Speed was the priority. One house every 16 minutes. The blueprint for modern American home building was set, and thermal performance was never part of the equation. The science preview is damning. A modern wood frame wall with standard insulation has a thermal time lag of approximately 1 hour. That means when the outside temperature drops, your wall transmits that cold to the interior within 60 minutes. A Viking longhouse wall made from 2 meters of compacted turf had a thermal time lag that exceeded 12 hours. The cold never arrived. But the real engineering genius was not in any single material. It was in the system. I went back to that Icelandic valley because what I found there was not primitive shelter. What the Norse builder had constructed with turf, stone, and timber was applied thermodynamics 800 years before the word existed. I watched how it began. First, the site. The builder had chosen a south-facing slope, sheltered from the prevailing north wind. He had dug into the hillside, sinking the floor 2 to 3 feet below ground level. This was not about saving material. Below the frost line, the earth holds a constant temperature of 45 to 55 degrees Fahrenheit year-round. By sinking that floor, he had anchored his home to a permanent heat source. The ground itself became the baseline. I could feel it underfoot, that faint residual warmth rising through the packed earth. Then, the walls. He had cut turf from the surrounding meadow, dense, root-woven blocks of earth, each one layered like brickwork. I ran my hand along them. The walls rose to 6 feet thick in some longhouses. At the Stöng site in southern Iceland, excavated in 1939, archaeologists measured wall thickness at 2 meters over 6.5 feet of solid earth. Each cubic foot of that turf weighed roughly 80 pounds. A single wall section, 10 feet long and 6 feet high, contained over 30 tons of thermal mass. After the walls came the roof. More turf, layered over birch bark waterproofing on a timber frame. The entire structure was wrapped in earth. From outside, the longhouse was nearly invisible against the landscape, a grass-covered mound rising from the meadow. I walked past it twice before I realized I was standing on top of it. Here is where the design revealed its genius. I stepped inside. At the center of the packed earth floor sat the long hearth, an open fire pit that stretched 6 to 10 feet in length. No chimney, no flue. The smoke rose, filled the upper space of the hall, and filtered slowly through the turf roof. This was not poor engineering. The smoke layer served 2 purposes. It preserved the timber roof structure by coating it in antimicrobial compounds, and it created a blanket of warm air trapped against the ceiling, pressing downward. I could feel the warmth pushing down on my shoulders like a heavy wool cloak. The result was a thermal envelope that modern engineers still study. In 2016, researchers from the University of Iceland reconstructed a turf longhouse using traditional methods and monitored interior temperatures over a full winter. With a single hearth fire burning, the interior held between 50 and 64 degrees Fahrenheit, while exterior temperatures dropped to -22 degrees Fahrenheit. When the fire was extinguished, the interior took over 18 hours to drop by 10 degrees Fahrenheit. The archaeological record confirmed this was not a single innovation. Turf construction had spread across Scandinavia, the Faroe Islands, Greenland, and Iceland between the 9th and 14th centuries. Erik's saga documented longhouse settlements in Greenland that survived winters where exterior temperatures reached -40 degrees Fahrenheit. These structures stood for generations. The last inhabited turf farmhouse in Iceland, Longhouses, was occupied until 1945. Now let's talk about why this worked at the level most people never see, the physics level. Heat moves in 3 ways: conduction, convection, and radiation. Your modern house fights one of them. The Viking longhouse fought all 3. Start with conduction, heat moving through a solid material. The R value of your fiberglass insulation measures resistance to conductive heat flow. Higher R value means slower conduction. Your wall sits at an R value of 13, a 2-meter turf wall based on measured thermal conductivity of compacted earth at 0.15 watts per meter Kelvin, delivered an R value equivalent of approximately R40. 3 times the resistance of your modern wall with zero manufactured material. But R value is only half the equation. Here is the half the building industry never talks about: thermal mass. Think of it like a battery. Your phone battery has a certain capacity. It stores energy and releases it slowly. Thermal mass works the same way. Dense materials absorb heat when the air is warm and release it when the air cools. The more mass, the bigger the battery. Your modern drywall weighs about 1.8 pounds per square foot. It stores almost no heat. When the furnace cycles off, there is nothing holding that warmth. It escapes through the insulation in minutes. The turf wall weighed over 480 pounds per square foot of face area. It was a thermal battery the size of a building. Once heated, it released warmth back into the interior for hours. That is why the University of Iceland team measured an 18-hour cool down. The walls were still radiating stored heat long after the fire had died. But here is the part that makes it devastating for the modern comparison. Then there is convection, heat carried away by moving air. Your house leaks air at every seam, outlet, and window frame. The Viking longhouse had no seams. I pressed my hand against those turf walls and felt nothing. No draft, no cold spot, no whisper of outside air. The walls were monolithic, continuous mass with no joints, no gaps, no penetrations. The sunken floor sat below the air infiltration plane. Cold air, which is denser than warm air, pooled at ground level outside the structure, but could not find a pathway in through 2 meters of compressed earth. The longhouse had achieved what modern builders spend thousands on blower door tests and spray foam to approach: a nearly airtight envelope built from dirt. Finally, radiant heat. Heat that moves in infrared waves from warm surfaces to cold ones. In your home, the walls are cold. Your body radiates heat toward them constantly. You feel this as a chill even when the air temperature reads 72 degrees. In the longhouse, the turf walls had absorbed heat from the fire all day. By evening, those walls were warm to the touch. I leaned against them. They radiated heat back into my body the way a stone hearth does hours after the flames go out. The Norse family had not heated the air. They had heated the mass, and the mass heated them. This is the fundamental principle that modern forced air HVAC abandoned: radiant warmth, the kind your body is designed to respond to. 3 reasons: speed, cost, and cheap fossil fuel. After World War II, America faced a housing crisis. 12 million returning soldiers needed homes. The government subsidized rapid suburban construction. Developers needed the fastest, cheapest framing method available, and balloon frame lumber construction delivered. A crew could frame a house in 2 days. No one was building 2-meter turf walls. No one was sinking floors below grade. The priority was volume, and thermal performance was an afterthought because heating oil cost 11 cents per gallon in 1950. For 60 years, cheap energy masked the failure. When your furnace can run all night for $3, no one questions the walls. The building industry standardized around minimum code requirements: R13 insulation, single-pane windows, forced air ductwork, and sold it as modern, efficient, and advanced. But here is the part that should make you angry. The industry knew. The Department of Energy has published data since the 1970s showing that thermal mass construction outperforms light frame construction in heating efficiency by 30 to 60%, depending on climate zone. The National Renewable Energy Laboratory documented in 2004 that earth-sheltered homes reduce heating energy consumption by up to 80%. The science has been clear for 50 years. The home building industry ignored it. Not because turf and earth construction is impractical. Rammed earth, cob, and earth-sheltered homes are built today across every continent. They ignored it because framing lumber is cheap, construction is fast, and the energy bill is your problem, not theirs. The builder profits on construction speed. The utility company profits on your consumption. You pay both. The consequence is a nation of thermally fragile homes. In the Texas winter storm of February 2021, when the power grid failed for 4 days, interior temperatures in modern wood frame homes dropped below freezing within 6 hours. Pipes burst. People died. An 11th century Icelandic longhouse with no power grid at all had maintained livable temperatures for days on the heat stored in its walls. The system did not fail those families. The system was never built to protect them. You cannot rebuild your house from turf, but you can apply the Viking principles with modern materials and methods. First, find the real thermal mass. Insulated concrete forms deliver R23 walls, with over 1,200 pounds of concrete per linear foot of thermal mass. Rammed earth builders operate across North America and Europe. Earth-sheltered and bermed homes are legal in every US state, and they reduce heating costs by 50 to 80%. Search for ICF builders or rammed earth contractors in your region. The upfront cost is 10 to 15% higher. The energy savings pay it back within 8 years. Second, add mass to what you have. A 4-inch interior stone veneer wall against your existing insulation adds significant thermal mass at a fraction of a rebuild cost. Earthen plaster, concrete floor slabs with radiant tubing, and even large interior water features all store and re-radiate heat. The goal is the same one the Viking builder understood: give heat somewhere to live when the fire goes out. Third, seal the envelope. Your longhouse equivalent is a blower door test. Hire an energy auditor to pressurize your home and find every air leak. Seal them with caulk, weather stripping, and spray foam. This single step, which costs $200 to $500, can reduce your heating bill by 20 to 30% overnight. If your house cannot hold heat, it does not matter how much heat you make. If you are learning something valuable here, hit that like and subscribe. It helps us share this buried building science with more people who are tired of paying $3,000 a year to heat a house that cannot hold warmth. The Viking builder in his Icelandic valley was not a primitive. He was a thermal engineer who understood that heat is not something you create. Heat is something you store. He knew that mass holds warmth. He knew that earth insulates. He knew that radiant heat keeps bodies warm in ways that forced air never will. We forgot all of it. We traded 2-meter walls for 3.5-inch stud cavities. We traded thermal mass for drywall. We traded a system that survived the North Atlantic winter for one that collapses when the power goes out for 6 hours. Your heating system fails you. You set the thermostat to 72, the furnace runs all night, and by morning you are still cold. That Norse chieftain in 950 AD never owned a thermostat. His walls did the work. I stood inside them. I felt it. The knowledge was never lost. We chose to stop using it. Time to choose differently. Subscribe and let us keep uncovering what the modern building industry buried.